We got history. Got me feeling the nostalgia when you look at me. Thinking about what could've happened or what could've been. Finally your face, I know ain't that a sight to see. Take my time, then take your clothes off one more time maybe. Acting like
Good morning, everyone. My task is to report entitled The Duty and Agency. So, before we start, when you heard duty, what comes first to your mind? Okay. According to Merriam-Webster, duty is your moral or your legal obligation or your responsibility. And agency, according to Google, a moral agent is being who is capable of acting with reference or legal obligation or responsibility. So, there is a similarities with duty and agency. Now, let us know what is duty and agency really mean to ourselves. The moral theory that evaluates actions that are done because of duty is called deontology. Deontology comes from the Greek word deon, which means being necessary. Hence, deontology refers to study of duty and obligation. The main proponent of deontology is Immanuel Kant, 1724 to 1804. He was a German Enlightenment philosopher who wrote one of the most important works on moral philosophy, Groundworks Towards a Metaphysics of Morals, 1785. In this work, Kant brings our attentions to the fact that we, human beings, have the faculty called rational will, which means capacity to act according to principle that we determine to ourselves. As what I said, that Immanuel Kant was a German Enlightenment philosopher who is thought to herald the Copernican revolution in philosophy. So now, what is meant by Copernican revolution? Nicolaus Copernicus was the 15th century astronomer who proposed the heliocentric model of the universe in his book, De Revolutionibus Orbium Coelestium. This was a major event, history of ideas, because it heralded a radical paradigm shift in the way humans consider their place in the universe. According to Copernicus, Kant developed revolutionary insights concerning the human mind and the conditions for the possibility of knowledge. In this chapter, the primary text of Kant, Groundworks Towards a Metaphysics of Morals, shows his contribution in moral philosophy by itself. This text is also revolutionary, insofar as Kant's ambition in the text is radical. He intends to develop what he calls the supreme principles of morality. It is supposedly because by basing it on the faculty of reason, it becomes binding for all creatures that have the faculty of faculty. Faculty here means inherent mental capacity. This way, the binding force of obligation is no longer relative but universal. It no longer depends on what a person's historical, cultural, or religious circumstances are, for as long as what the person has the faculty of reason. The moral law is bending. Hence, Kant has become a key thinker in moral reflection. Just always remember that according to Immanuel Kant, we as a human beings, we have a faculty called rational will, and we have the different abilities that we determine to ourselves. Now, to consider the rational will is to point out the difference between animals and persons. On one hand, animals are sentient organisms. Sentience meaning An organism has the ability to perceive and navigates each external environment. Insofar as a dog and carabaos are sentient organisms, we do not see them bumping into trees and walls unless their senses are weak. Animals constantly interact with their surroundings. This is also true to us humans. We are also sentient. Thus, both animals and persons interact in and with the world, reacting to external stimuli and internal impulses to survive and thrive. On the other hand, people are also rational. Rationally consists of a mental capacity to construct ideas and thoughts that are beyond our immediate surroundings. This is the arises from the operation of faculty of reason. Thus, we have the ability to stop and think what we are doing. We can remove ourselves mentally from the immediacy of our surroundings and reflect on our actions and how such actions affect the world. We can imagine a different and better world and create mental images of how we interact with other people in that world. In the same way, an architect first constructs her blueprint of a house in her mind. When the draft of house construction is drawn, she can then give instructions to the masons and carpenters on how to build the actual house, which becomes the second construction. This happens often in our lives, such as when a young girl puts on her nice dress and makeup, when a student writes outline for a English essay, or when a painter makes essential sketches on a canvas. The first construction consists in how we imagine things can be. Then, we implement that in the second construction. Through the capacity for imagination and reflection, we conceive on how we could affect, possibly even change, the world we live in. Thus, we do not only have the capacity to imagine and construct mental images, but we also have the ability to act on, to enact and make real those mental images. This ability to enact our thoughts is the basis for the rational will. The rational will refers to the faculty to intervene in the world, to act in a manner that is consistent with our reason. As far as we know, animals only act according to impulses, based on their natural instincts. Right now, for example, you may feel lethargic. Do you know what is lethargic? Okay, lethargic is like a laziness. Your head feels heavy and your eyes are dropping. The corresponding impulse is to close your eyes and then fall asleep. However, your rational will demands something else. Perhaps you have to finish reading this chapter for a quiz tomorrow. That quiz is a part of a big picture. That is your information as a student to earn a degree and do productive work. So you struggle to stay awake. You stand up briefly to stretch your legs. You may have already taken some coffee. Right now, as you struggle to stay awake and understand the words on this page, your rational will is victorious over your bodily impulse as long as you stay awake. This demonstrates the triumphs of your rational will over your base impulse to just go to sleep. This triumphs clarifies the meaning of rational will, the capacity of a person to be the cause of your actions based on reasons and not merely to mindlessly react to the environment and base impulses. In philosophical discussion about human freedom, this capacity is called agency, which is the ability of a person to act based on their intentions and mental states. while ago, I discussed that animals and humans are sentients. Because we all know that animals has the ability to feel and navigate the world he inhabits. And may kakayahan silang mabuhay although sila ay animals. But in animals, sapat na sa kanila na nabubuhay sila at nakakakain. Different from human with the ability to think para yumaman o para umunlad ang buhay. And it's depend on us as a human kung ano ang magiging future natin. Because as a human being, we are the creator and the writer of our life. We can think and create based on the things